Well, I told you a story from the first year in the National Football League. Now I'm also asked, what was your last game on the field in the National Football League? I'm still on the supervisory staff and scout officials at the Big Ten, Notre Dame, and some of the other independent schools. My last game was a championship game in January of 1969 in Three Rivers Stadium between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Houston Oilers. But 4 weeks before that, and that was in the freezing rain with ice hanging from the goalposts. But 4 weeks before that, this is all a true story, I had been in Pittsburgh for a late afternoon regular season game between Pittsburgh and the Dallas Cowboys. The score was 21-17 Pittsburgh in the third quarter when Roger Staubach, quarterbacking Dallas, got hit in the head and went down. Now, in pro football, a timeout for an injured player prior to the last 2 minutes of the half does not count against the three that they guard so carefully. It's a referee's timeout. But unbeknownst to us, the scoreboard operator in Pittsburgh, a guy I'll never meet, a guy who probably thinks his job doesn't mean anything, put one timeout on the board for Dallas when there were really none. Now, we don't look at the scoreboard. We can't see the scoreboard. That's part of the criteria for working in this league. If you see the scoreboard, you don't qualify. Now we got one timeout on the board for Dallas when there were really none. Staubach has to go out. He comes back in. A few plays later, he gets hit again. Down he goes. We signal a timeout, charge it to us. Still no charge timeouts for Dallas, but this guy puts 2 up on the scoreboard. Now with 1 minute and 50 seconds left in the football game, Dallas ball, Pittsburgh 25, still down by 4. Staubach called his first timeout, Dallas. We mark 1 on the game card, and this guy puts 3 on the scoreboard. Developing problem in communications. Things are not what they are what? What people think they are. And 55,000 people in Pittsburgh thought there were 3 timeouts against Dallas. Now with 1 minute and 20 to go in a ball game, Dallas ball, Pittsburgh 20. Staubach called his second timeout. Dallas, we mark it out, and this guy puts 4 up on the scoreboard. And immediately, Chuck Noll, the coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, began to holler at me, something like, "Pardon me." Or words to that effect. And I could not figure out what this great coach was so upset about. I didn't even turn around. Now with 20 seconds left in the game, Dallas ball, Pittsburgh 18, 4th down. Staubach called his third and last timeout, Dallas. We mark it out, and this sucker puts 5 up on that scoreboard. And Chuck Noll hollered out, "Turn around and talk to me, you dirty Framus Peploomer." I turned around. I said, "What do you want to talk about, Coach?" And he's standing in that 6-foot wide white stripe area that he's not supposed to be in. He said, "I want to talk about how many timeouts you're giving to Dallas." I didn't know what he was talking about. I said, "We're giving them 3, Coach. You get back out of the white." He said, "You've already given them 5, and he took 2 steps across the white, out onto the field, right in front of my nose on national television. I said, "No, Coach, we've given them 3, but I'm going to give you 15 yards, and I threw the flag in the air. Oh, is that popular in Pittsburgh? They were going to name me Steel Queen. Now, Bob Frederick, our referee, had been over to tell Landry he just used his last time out. He turned around just in time to see my rag hit the ground, and 55,000 people start to boo me. Bob ran all the way across the field, ran up to me and said, "Artie, what have you done?" I said, "I have just stuck the Pittsburgh coach half the distance to the goal. Put that ball on the 9 and give Dallas a first down." He said, "Yes, and I have to walk it off." I said, "That's the penalty of leadership. Walk." And then the greatest thing that happened to me in a 15-year career in professional football happened on the next play. Staubach went back to pass, hit Drew Pearson in the end zone right in the numbers, and he dropped it. If he hadn't dropped that ball, I wouldn't be here today. I'd be pushing up marble in some cemetery. Now, why do I tell you financial planners, you trusted advisors, why do I tell you that story as we gather here this noon at this Values-Based Financial Planning Academy? Why do I tell you that story? I'll tell you why. Because 4 weeks later, just 4 weeks later, the National Football League sent me back to Pittsburgh to work that championship game with Houston. Nobody decides who's going to work where in this league. It's at that league office at 280 Park Avenue in New York. And the officials are rated every week, 4 times. By a guy in the press box, that's what I do now, off the films of New York, and by both coaches. At the end of the year, they add up those ratings, and if you were rated number one in your position, you worked the Super Bowl or wear one of these rings that I proudly wear. And if you're rated second or third, you worked the championship game and so on down the line. Because you see, like you, as trusted advisors, we don't pay off on average. We pay off on excellence.